The phone vibrated while my hands were still oily. A single image loaded. White stone, glass walls, snow like powdered silence. Switzerland. The caller ID flashed again. Then again. 71 times by dusk. I didn't answer. Earlier that day, my daughter had stood inside my workshop like a stranger renting skin. She didn't look at the machines I built with my hands. She didn't look at me. Her husband did the talking. He slid the envelope across my workbench. "Here's your termination letter." The paper felt thin, final. My daughter added, almost bored, "You're a stubborn old man." I remember thinking how carefully she'd chosen the word old, as if age were the crime, as if decades of sweat could be erased with a stapled page. I nodded. Silence is a weapon when used correctly. They left. The door didn't slam. It didn't need to. The echo stayed anyway. By evening, the phone wouldn't stop screaming. I watched it from across the room. I let it ring. The workshop had never been just a workshop. It was the last place my wife's voice still lived, where the floor remembered her footsteps, where I kept the discipline of building things that don't betray you. My daughter knew that. That's why she chose it. The letter said downsizing. The signature wasn't hers. It was his. My son-in-law. A man who learned to shake hands before he learned to tell the truth. They'd been planning it for months. I saw it in hindsight, the way my access cards failed once, then twice. The accounts that needed restructuring. The meetings I was politely excluded from. I had raised my daughter to survive the world. I had not prepared her to conquer me. What I didn't understand yet was how wide the rot spread. That night, my daughter-in-law called. My son's wife. Her voice was sharp, practiced. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." A pause, designed to humiliate. I replied, "Enjoy." I hung up before she could laugh. I sat in the dark and listened to the machines cool. I didn't feel anger yet, just the strange clarity that arrives when you realize the knife has already gone in. I didn't confront anyone, I observed. I pulled phone records quietly, watched transactions bleed into unfamiliar accounts. I noticed how my daughter's car was suddenly leased through a holding company. I didn't recognize. I recognized the handwriting, though. My brother's. The uncle they never visited. The one they said was eccentric. The one whose name was never spoken without an eye roll. $500 million makes people polite from a distance. It makes them predators up close. I requested a DNA test under the guise of medical history updates. No drama, no raised voices. Just logistics. I reviewed messages archived but never deleted. My son-in-law's late nights. His meetings. My daughter-in-law's sudden gifts. Her confidence grew as if fed by a private son. I waited. Patience is not passive. It is active restraint. The Switzerland photos were scheduled posts. I had released them on purpose. A clean villa. Light everywhere. No darkness to hide in. That's when the phone started ringing. 71 times. The results came on a Tuesday. Clinical. Cold. My daughter's husband wasn't just stealing my company. He was sleeping with my daughter-in-law, my son's wife. They had folded the family into a private economy of greed. My daughter knew. She always knew. Silence was her currency. I invited them to lunch. No accusations, no drama. I placed a folder between us. Bank transfers, messages, photos, DNA results. My son-in-law's face collapsed first. My daughter-in-law cried, loud, useless. My daughter didn't move. "You knew," I said softly. She nodded once. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I told them the workshop was never theirs. I told them the company belonged to a trust. I told them the trust belonged to my uncle. I told them he'd been watching for years. The termination letter? Invalid. The restructuring? Reversed. Their accounts? Frozen. Their shares? Illusions. I stood. You wanted me small, I said. I became invisible. They begged then. Apologies poured like cheap wine. I walked out. The door didn't slam. It never does when you leave with everything. I live in Switzerland now. The villa is quiet, honest. The phone stopped ringing eventually. I didn't block them. Silence teaches better lessons. Sometimes I think of the workshop, of my wife's voice in the hum of machines, of my daughter as a child before ambition taught her how to cut. I feel nothing. And that's the victory. Some people lose everything. Some people learn exactly what they were worth. I learned both.